Hey YouTube, I'm going to do, someone said that they thought that they saw worms in this tank on my last shrimp video. And so I'm going to do a video that shows these babies at the water surface eating some of this nori that I've put in the tank. If I move it, it's not going to focus properly. And I've been getting some notification that my focusing is not proper. So I'm going to try my best to do it. But if you look very closely, you will see that there are indeed tiny baby shrimp on the tank side and at the surface of the water feeding. I fed little dried nori that I got in my aquatic experience bag that I won from a saltwater company, and they had food that is mostly for saltwater fish, but I've used both the powder and the nori to feed today. And I think that you will see these as the powder and as the nori floats by, and it will come and go. So we'll just have to let the video run for a while and get some footage of these guys. I think I've got it in about as good a focus as I can, but there are a lot of tiny pieces of like ground up anyway, a lot of saltwater plants have been ground up and used to make this powder, and I feed it because the babies are so small that they can take advantage of that powder and eat from it. And also the nori, and the nori is basically a saltwater plant that these shrimp they relish it. Actually, I was surprised when I fed it the first time. They relish it. But these are tiny baby shrimplets, nits, whatever you want to call them. You think they're worms or you think they're something else, but if you watch very closely, you will see that they are indeed shrimp. You can see some of the smaller shrimp swimming around. This is right on the surface of the water, and on the front of my tank where the algae grows the heaviest, and what little flow there is from these two 40-gallon sponge filters that I have running in this tank, which is all I run this tank off of, creates just enough flow to make this stuff move around. And you will see these tiny, tiny baby shrimp when the nori or when some of that powdered plant material comes by. They will grab it and eat it, even the tiny, tiniest ones. And believe me, the whole front of the tank is just covered in little white dots. And it's baby shrimp. It's not worms. It's not sea shrimp. It's regular baby shrimp. Let's see if I can focus in on this piece here. Every time I move, the depth of focus gets out of control, and so I lose my focus. But this macro lens is really particular about but there you can see both some tetragranules and also pieces of nori float by. And when the pieces of nori go by, if you'll notice, there are baby shrimp all over them. There's a piece right there. There's also a large shrimp on it too. It's just every time I move this camera, I've got to refocus it because the focus just gets way out of control. But if you will look closely, that nori, and that's what that is a chunk of nori, is just teeming with little teeny baby shrimps and slightly larger shrimp. And in the background you're seeing more of it moving around in the current. This is right on the surface of the water. And here, let me pan down and focus, and you guys can see just how many baby shrimp there are on the outside of this tank. I mean, on the inside of the glass, but showing from the front. Now, you could say that those were worms, but they are not. They are baby shrimp, and they are everywhere. Every place you want to look in this tank, you will find them. More and more and more. So my shrimp are definitely reproducing. There's a piece of nori back in the light. See if we can focus in on it again. And what you'll see is, of the different generations there are, the larger ones, you know, the last batch that was produced and then the batch before that, each one will be slightly different size. Every time I move, it goes out of focus. But if you watch the little teeny moving dots, they glom on too and start eating. And back over here. When it's closer like this, I can get a better shot. But the light's not quite as good in that spot. But this is nori, seaweed basically. And they love it. I don't feed it very often because it takes a while to sink, and so a lot of them don't get it for a while because they don't come up to the surface. But an awful lot of them do come up to the surface, and the babies especially. Alright, YouTube, I hope I kept this one in a little better focus. And once again, we're looking at my 20-gallon shrimp colony that I started with a Skittles pack from Lucas. A Skrittles pack, as he calls them now. They were still Skittles when I bought mine. It basically had a few yellows, a few blues, a few reds in it, and 9 months later, I've probably got 200 or 300 full-grown shrimp and at least that many babies. I'm not sure what my survival rate on all these little nits is, but there's a lot of them in the tank, and you can see there are varied colors from clear to bright red to even some blues and occasionally a purple looking one. Alright, YouTube, good luck. Just another update on this shrimp tank.